Welcome back. So you know how you tell yourself, if I could just get a break, if I could just take a vacation, if I could just have one day with nothing to do. And then when you actually get it, what happens? You can't sit still, you can't relax, you're restless, you feel guilty, you're on edge, your mind is just scanning, what am I forgetting? What should I be doing? Something's going to go wrong if I don't get back in there and get to work. And you're exhausted, you're wired, and at the same time, you just can't navigate both worlds because they oppose each other. Well, in this lesson, I want to show you why that is, and show you, that your body's not broken, it's just overheated. And it's just been stuck in survival mode for so long that it doesn't know how to believe you're safe unless you're stressed. So we've talked about your blueprint and talked about your shame. Now we're going to talk about what all of that has done to your nervous system. So we'll keep it really simple, and we'll just talk about the way it works. And it's the brain. It's the job is to keep you alive, and it doesn't care about your goals or impressing anyone or feeling fulfilled. It cares about one thing: am I safe right now, or am I in danger? And when it senses danger, whether it's real or imagined, it just flips into survival mode, okay? Most people know that's fight or flight. What most high achievers don't realize is how much they live in constant fight, flight, fawn, and freeze all day long, even when nothing bad is happening. So let's walk through what that would look like in your everyday life. So for the fight response for a high achiever doesn't always mean yelling or screaming or punching a wall. It can look like, I'll just fight through it. I'll handle it. I'll work longer and harder and better than everyone else. And it's that clench in your jaw that I've just got to power through this. Think of the anger it takes to, come on, right? And that it's like you're not screaming at them, but you're screaming internally, even when your tank is empty. So for you, it may not literally be punching somebody, but it would feel like, in a sense, you're punching yourself. Now, flight, on the other hand, can look like staying constantly busy, always having to move. Now, you do that so you don't have to feel anything. So you overschedule. You always have a project. You're cleaning, you're organizing. You're the type who can't sit on the couch. If you do, you got to grab your phone. You got to get up and go do something. You're planning, you're scrolling. You just can't ever have an idle moment, because when you do, you will feel that void. Fawn, on the other hand, is a big one for high achievers. This is you managing danger by pleasing. So you avoid conflict by saying yes when you want to say no. Or you stay, the easy, polite one, low maintenance one, the over accommodating one. So you make yourself useful when, even when you're just completely drained, but you're doing that so no one has any reason to be upset with you or to leave. Now, freeze, on the other one, isn't a dramatic one either. See, that's what's so deceptive about this is with the high achiever, most people can't see any of this going on. But you can feel it as I describe it. So let's talk about freeze. That's you collapsing on the couch after a long day, staring at your phone, numb, turning the TV on, but can't watch anything. You feel like you should move, but you can't. So you're not really resting. You're not restoring yourself. You're just stuck. So your childhood blueprint and your shame engine have just kept your nervous system ping-ponging between fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. For years, you just grew up in an environment where being relaxed, being yourself, and having needs just wasn't safe. So your body learned that calm is dangerous and stillness is dangerous, and if I let my guard down, I'll get blindsided, rejected, or shamed. So as an adult, your life can look, safe to everyone on the outside. No one's chasing you. You're not in a war zone. But your nervous system still thinks you're that kid in that house. You're just trying to anticipate everybody's mood so you don't get hurt. And that's why you can't relax. Now, it's not because you just like being busy, which you may tell yourself that. It's because your body just can't sit still, or it's going to experience that void which feels danger. And so this is where the emotional chemical addiction of the worst day cycle comes in. Okay, the worst day cycle is trauma, fear, shame, and denial. And that's what's happening here. So when you live in that survival long enough, your body just gets hooked into the chemistry of it. The adrenaline, the cortisol, the little hits of, oh, I'm almost there. Just need a little bit more. One more email, one more task, one more yes. And those chemicals are intense. But they're familiar. And the way the brain works is it doesn't know right from wrong, good from bad, healthy from unhealthy. It just says, have I done this? That's familiar. Let's keep doing it. And so your body just starts to crave that feeling of urgency. This is what a lot of high achievers especially don't know or may not realize. Every thought you have, every action you take starts with an emotion, a feeling. High achievers hide behind their intellect and their thoughts. You think you are, but you're not. It's not how the brain works. Even as you're sitting listening to me, the way you're consuming the information, just sitting in the chair, there's outside noises, the feel of your rear end on the chair, whatever it is, that sensory input is adjusting the way you feel and what emotion. It's triggering emotions from your past, and they're having an influence on how you interpret me. Also, my tone, my body language, all these different things. You're feeling that, and that's what's generating your thoughts. That's how the brain works. It's all emotion first. You can never outrun your emotion with thought. Okay? And so that's why, I've got to keep going. It's not that you're crazy. It's, or there's anything wrong with you. It's just your emotional nervous system has learned that, the buzz is being alive. It's the only way you can feel. It means you're valuable. It means you're safe. It keeps you detached from feeling that void. Okay, so now let's tie in how that false security equates with the void. And I want you to think about the void and when it shows up the loudest. When the external noise dies down, after the deadline, after the launch, after everyone's been taken care of at night, when you finally sit down and it's just there with you. What happens in that moment? Your survival system doesn't celebrate. It panics. It doesn't know how to inhabit the quiet. It doesn't know how to rest or feel joy without scanning for what's going to go wrong. So even though you've accomplished so much, you don't feel safe. You feel exposed. That's when your thoughts just start racing. I should be doing something. I'm wasting time. I'll fall behind. I feel restless. So grab your phone, your laptop, your to-do list. You flip into freeze and just check out completely. And the void? Well, it's right there in the middle, right there with you. In the freeze, when your body finally collapses from all the fight, flight, and fawn, the emptiness you've been outrunning just catches up. That's when you feel, what's the point? Why do I feel so alone? Why doesn't any of this touch me? So, of course, anything external can't fill that void. This is an internal issue. This is your nervous system. It's not letting you stay in any experience long enough to actually feel it. Not think it, feel it. So the minute you get close to satisfaction or peace or stillness, it triggers your alarm. And you just go right back into performance, or you shut down altogether. And it's not that you don't know how to rest. It's that rest has never felt like a safe place to live. So I want to emphasize this, that the way your body responds isn't a character flaw. It's not you failing in any way. And it's just proof of how much you had to adapt to survive your childhood story. So the problem is your nervous system just never got the update that you're not back there anymore. It's still reading your adult life through that childhood filter, because that's how our brain and body works. Emotions are learned constructs that we learn in the first 3 to 7 years of life before you could ever even speak. This emotional nervous dysregulation in your nervous system probably happened between 0 and 3 years old in almost all cases. So this just feels normal to you, okay? And the way emotions work is we learn them in childhood, and then as adults, all we're ever doing is reliving those past emotional experiences unless we develop emotional authenticity in the authentic self cycle. We just stay stuck in the worst day cycle. So that's where we are. That's where you are. All right. So in the next lessons, we're going to talk about, how the shame and denial portions of the worst day cycle created your survival persona. And then we're going to open the door to the emotional authenticity tools that I've developed to help you start rewiring this. But right now, I just want you to build some recognition of how your nervous system is actually behaving in your day-to-day life. Because once you can see that pattern, you can stop calling it, this is just my personality and this is who I am. It's not true. It's just you're in survival mode. And this way you can start seeing it as the truth. This is what happened to you. So after this video, I just, again, head back to your journal and answer a couple questions. The first one is, what are the 3 situations in my normal week where my body feels like it's in survival, even though I'm not actually in danger? So I want you to think about your work, your family, time with your wife or kids or husband or kids, email, social situations, is it around money, any aspect of your relationship. And note, what you're looking for is body sensations. Can you feel the tight chest, the racing heart, the shallow breath or stomach in knots, tension maybe in your shoulders, whatever it is, describe it. All right. The second question I want you to look at is, when you try to rest or slow down, what sensations show up in your body? What story do you tell yourself about those sensations? Do you feel antsy and heavy and foggy and on edge? And what does your mind say about that? How does that shame voice try and convict you and say you're lazy, you're wasting time, you're going to fall behind? Write both of them down, the physical sensations and the shame, emotional, mental story that you're hearing. All right. And finally, the third one is, which survival response feels most familiar to you? Is it fight, flight, fawn, or freeze? If you have to watch the video again, as I talked about them, maybe you went into one of those and shut off, re-listen and see, oh yeah, it may be a combination of both. And then, in the journal prompt here, the third question is, how does that show up in your life? Are you mostly in fight, powering through? Are you mostly in flight, staying busy? Are you in fawn and just people pleasing and overgiving? Or is it freeze and you just zone out and shut down? So just give real examples from your week, because we'll put those questions, or I'm going to put, again, these questions below the video as well. And that way you can refer back to them and you're not trying to, chase them down. But remember, we're not trying to fix anything left. We're in the discovery phase. We're excavating your worst day cycle, bringing you into awareness of how your high achieving is your curse, okay? So we need to learn about the nervous system, and the way we do that is we watch it with curiosity instead of judgment. So in the next lesson, we're going to take everything we've talked about so far and pull it into one clear picture of who you've had to become to survive all this, your survival persona. And we'll explore the role you play in every relationship, in the workplace, and basically every room you walk into, and begin to separate that role from who you really are, okay? So for now, just notice your body, notice when it feels like you're in a war, and even when you're just sitting at your kitchen table, because that awareness is, the beginning of giving your nervous system a different experience and moving out of this curse.